everybody, and welcome back to yet another Friday reviews, Friday film review. Yep, that's right, it's Friday reviews, and it might not be Friday because I'm actually going to be doing a Friday reviews weekend this weekend, just to try and catch up on some reviews because I'm really behind because I didn't do Friday reviews for a while. But in this video I'm going to be talking about Sinister 2. Now, I was actually really excited for this movie because I really enjoyed Sinister 1. It was actually one of my favourite, it's not really a word, but of the more recent years. And I feel like a lot of horror movies, you know, in the past few years or kind of more modern years, haven't just got it for me. They haven't just kind of, I don't know, I just haven't really enjoyed them. The story, I feel like, is either lacking or they just rely on jump scares or I don't know. But Sinister I actually really enjoyed. And I watched multiple times. So Sinister 2, I was like, yeah, you know, I'll give that a go. Picked it up on release day, and I actually did really quite enjoy it. I actually heard some pretty bad things about this one, but honestly, I just went into it kind of not expecting too much. Not really sure how it was going to tie in with the first one, or if it was going to. Or I didn't watch the trailer or anything. I just kind of went into this blind, and I really did enjoy it. It was very, I wouldn't say it was the only kind of similarity that this one had. Well, actually, it did have a few similarities, which was good, but it took a new family, and it took a new kind of, it took what the old one had, but kind of put a bit of a spin on it, which I don't want to give too much away, because if you haven't seen the first one, or if you don't really know what goes on in these, I don't want to ruin it. But you know, this is family, there's a mother and two twin boys. And they're kind of going through something. I found their story actually quite interesting. I thought it was interesting that it was about twins. And then there's this guy who's kind of like, it's like a parallel plot. So there's this family, and there's this man who's kind of investigating things that have been going on, similar to the first movie. Obviously he's found out about that, and it does come up in this movie. And you know, other similar cases, you know, like murder cases, crime cases that have been to do with kind of this image and, you know, the similar kind of thing, and he's investigating that. And then, you know, he ends up meeting these this family by going around to their house because something, you know, has gone on there before. And they knew that moving into it, you know, they always move into one of those houses, don't they, where something's gone on there before. But I actually thought he was a really brilliant character. The kind of guy who was doing the investigation, I really loved him. And he was also quite funny. Now, as to the kind of horror aspect of this, I thought it was really interesting. It still kind of used the theme of the old films, which were kind of like, you know, the little weird creepy films of basically families dying. It's kind of, it was, I was going to say it's kind of sinister, but yeah, so I get why it's called Sinister. This movie took that kind of idea to another level. I personally thought there's quite a few of these movies, like you know, the movies that they're watching, there's quite a few in the movie as there was with the first. These ones I felt like were a lot more gruesome, and one of them, there was one that was in the movie, and I was just like, oh, I thought it was like one of the worst things that I've seen. It wasn't that bad to look at, but it was the thought of it. The idea of what it was just so horrible, and just, oh, I didn't like it at all. I was like, oh my gosh, that's pretty. And I can watch most things and I'm not too like creeped out, like grossed out by things. It wasn't scary, it was more, like I say, gruesome. It was kind of a gross thing, and I'm not too grossed out by things. But in this movie, there was something, and I was just like, oh my god, I just, couldn't handle it, and it was horrible. And so I feel like that's great. If a movie can make you feel that way, I think that's really good, because a lot of horror movies recently, like I say, I feel like they're just kind of boring and predictable. This one had its predictable moments, but it did have some surprises along the way. There was a few twists and turns, nothing big, just little ones. And the little films in this were definitely something to they were just kind of, like I say, just a bit gruesome. Some of them were just okay, they weren't that bad, but some were just pretty bad. And there was one, like I say, if you've seen the movie, you might know which one I mean. Also, this Blu-ray has extended kill films, so if you want to watch more of those, they're on here. But yeah, so obviously that's not the main part of the movie, but it is a big focus. And then, like I said, the investigation on this family. I found the family interesting. I liked their dynamic. It was kind of, like I said, they had problems. They had some problems, and they were kind of solving through that as well. It wasn't just kind of, ooh, the house is haunted, I guess. Also, I liked that they didn't kind of beat around the bush with that. They basically just showed you right off the bat, right at the beginning of the movie, the house is haunted, the child can see ghosts, and the ghosts weren't like, it wasn't like things were just moving around, you know, and you're like, ooh, what is it, it just kind of showed you what they were, because that's not the kind of horrifying bit of this movie. It's not trying to scare you with things moving around the house. It's got kind of a, I feel like this movie kind of has a deeper scare. It's kind of definitely a bit psychological as well, because, you know, like a bit of a thriller type. It's the movies. The movies for me creep me out, some of them. And the end I thought was pretty good. It mostly ended the way I wanted it to, which I liked. The very end, I mean the very, very end, the last half a minute, I could have chopped that bit off. I didn't really need that bit. But for the most part, the end ended how I wanted it to, which doesn't mean it was a nice, good ending, but I liked the way that it rounded things up, and I appreciated the way it ended. So yeah, overall, I enjoyed this movie. I had fun with it. It was kind of gross at points. It was kind of creepy at times. There was a bit that they did with a laptop, which I thought was clever and creepy. I'd seen similar things before in movies, of course. It's kind of, you know, they can't do too much new, but there was definitely some points in this movie that I thought, ooh, that's kind of creative and different. And so overall, I liked it. I gave it 4 stars. I don't see why people don't really like this one. I enjoyed it. If you like Sinister, you probably like this one. I mean, I thought it was a pretty good, solid sequel, to be honest. I don't know, maybe that's just me. But overall I enjoyed it. I would watch it again, but I think I would actually skip the bit I didn't really like, because that bit is just in my brain now, and I just, oh no. So yeah, if you've seen Sinister 2, let me know what you thought about it. Let me know what you thought about the little, they call it on the back here kill films, but I'm sure you know what I mean. Yeah, let me know your thoughts on it. Until then guys, I'll see you next time. Thank you so much for watching Friday Reviews, and I'll see you then. Goodbye!